Now we have Mr. Alan Wong, Application Development Consultant, Developer Relations, Asia Pacific, Blackberry, to speak to us. As part of the Blackberry's Developer Relations organization, Alan is responsible for managing the technical relationship with Blackberry's developers community. So please give a big hand to Alan.
Thank you, everyone. So good afternoon, first of all. I'd like to thank us for inviting us to talk about user experience and user interface design. And this is something that we spent quite a bit of time in when we were architecturing our operating system. So I'm Alan Wong, I'm from the developer relations team. So I work with the developer community and trying to help them integrate their applications onto the Blackberry platform, and as well as giving them some tips on some of the unique user experiences on Blackberry 10 to hopefully be able to infuse them into their third-party applications as well. So I do also have a product video that I'd like to show, but I might just keep it to the end because I wanted to talk more about how we came up with the user interface and the user experience and the philosophy behind it. So there are a lot of very conceptual concepts, but I will be showing you some examples as well on how we integrate it into our smartphone device. So before we start on the user interface, just want to spend 2 quick slides about Blackberry 10, which is some background information for you to consider. So about 2 years back, we started architecturing the Blackberry 10 operating system. We started looking at usage patterns, mobile users' behaviors, before we really decide on where to go in terms of the user interface and the user experience. And during this 2 years, we've made major acquisitions to various different companies with different expertise. One of them probably some of you may or may not know TAT. They're a Swedish design company who were the folks behind the first Android UI. So they do have quite a bit of experience in understanding user interface design and user experience as well. And earlier this year, we released our first set of Blackberry devices that support the new Blackberry 10 operating system. And we still do have QWERTY keyboards available as well for all those QWERTY lovers. So now that we got that aside, so when we first designed the Blackberry 10 operating system, we sort of considered, again, the mobile usage. What state of the device is usually there, and where do people usually do on their devices. So this might be one very familiar state to all of you, device in power off mode that's sitting on your table or on your work desk. And to wake up the device, sometimes you might have to search for that lock button or for that power on button. But Blackberry 10 is really all based on gestures and very simple, intuitive gestures that allow you to do simple actions with just a swipe of the screen. So to turn on the device, all you have to do is just swipe from the bottom to the top. And your device will gradually light up, showing you the lock screen, which contains notifications that you might be interested in. And if nothing comes to your appeal, or if you're not interested in any of these notifications, a simple swipe reverse gesture going from top to bottom will then turn off the device. Now, another very common scenario, at least that I come through as well, is when you're reading a message or when you're reading an email, a very, very long email, and another notification comes in where the red LED starts to blink, and you want to check to see if it's an important message. So I go back. I see an advertisement, I see a spam that I'm not interested in, and now when I go back to my email message, I've already lost my spot in the long email that I've been reading. So what we've done with gestures is allow you to go back to a screen without actually leaving the screen itself. So you can control how much of the previous screen you want to see. So with the simple gesture from left to right, you can drag the current screen to the right, and then you'll see your inbox, which is where we came from. And if it's a notification that we're interested in, I'll continue with the gesture and read up on the new notification. If it's not, then I'll just slide backwards and go back to where I was just left off. So these aren't just apparent in our OS applications, but also allow developers, third-party developers, to integrate that same experience with their applications. So when we first, when we first thought about the whole user experience as we were designing the operating system, we considered one very important concept in psychology, and it's flow. So the concept of flow, according to Wikipedia, is a mental state of operation in which a person performing an activity is fully immersed within that activity, and they enjoy doing whatever they wanted to do. And this can actually apply to devices and smartphones very well, because when a user uses a smartphone, they don't want to think about how they want to do it. Everything should become second nature to you. For example, if you're, as you saw on the previous screens, when we're flipping through pages back and forth, instead of looking for that particular back button, a very simple intuitive gesture is to place your finger anywhere on the screen and just swipe to go backwards. And this is really, the more you use it, the more it becomes second nature to you, and you don't even have to think about it as you're navigating between screens within an application. So when we were trying to apply this flow concept into BlackBerry smartphones, we came up with 4 basic principles of flow. Eliminating barriers to action and information, putting the user in control, providing structure and focus, and also giving compelling feedback. Now, all of this is very conceptual, I'm sure you're thinking about right now, but I'm gonna go through each one of these. Hopefully there's enough time for that, and maybe the product video, and give you an example of how we integrated it into our operating system. So the first one, eliminating barriers to action information. It's all about simplifying the workflow on processes that you want to do or things that you want to do on your smartphones today. So to give you a quick example, a lot of times when you're in applications, any application, there's many screens that you have to drill down to in order to do what you want to do. For example, in a contact application, you might have to drill down to the particular contact page in order to do editing or in order to call or delete the contact. But with BlackBerry 10, we introduced the concept of context menus, where you can actually do actions on the list items itself without having to drill down to an unnecessary screen. So within the list of contacts, for example, you can delete, you can share, you can do everything you want in that contact, or you can even do a multi-select on this list of contacts and do that action on all of these contacts. So it's all about eliminating the barriers in between workflows. Now, another quick example is what we call the peek gesture. So when you're within an application, any application, either a BlackBerry 10 application or a third-party application, you can do a simple swipe gesture from bottom to up to peek at the notifications that are incoming. So if you look at the very left screen, that's where our application screen is running, it's full screen, and do a simple swipe from bottom to the top, reveals the notifications bar, which you see on the left. In here, I've got one email. Now, if it's something that's important, you go straight to it. If it's not, then you would go back, you would do the reverse gesture, and you would just go back to the application screen and pick up where you left off, basically. Now, the second one is actually quite interesting, putting the user in control. If you imagine yourself being a very experienced driver, as an analogy, you're a very experienced driver, and you step into a car, you start the engine, and you're driving a car. What's going on in your head is really where you want to go, the direction or the route that you want to take. But what's already become second nature to you is using your hands to turn the steering wheels or using your foot to accelerate or decelerate. And this is what we talk about when we say putting user in control. We want the users to forget about everything that happens in between, and that they're actually interacting directly with the application without any intermediate tools or devices in between. So as an example here, in the simple swipe gesture that I showed earlier, when you're going to the previous page, you're not looking for a particular back button to go back. Everything should be second nature to you. With a simple swipe, you would just go back to the previous page without having to worry about where to find that back button. And providing structure and focus is becoming increasingly important in the world of applications as applications become more complex. So an application with very bad structure leaves a very frustrating user experience to the user because they don't know how to control it. And also an application without focus loses the intent of the application because you aren't able to get the user's focus on the unique features of your application. So some of these we've also incorporated into BlackBerry 10, and on the left screenshot here you see our camera application. And what we've basically done is when the user pulls up the camera application, they want to forget everything about the settings and the different types of filters because their primary task is to take a picture. So what we've done is we've made the interface very, very simple. So we've hide away and abstract away all of these settings and leave the picture to be the content view so that the user is able to take the picture, and which is their primary goal. And in the BlackBerry App World application, you'll notice the contrast between the application sizes, the icon sizes, to give that focus to the user so that we direct the users to look at the feature carousel, which is the biggest icon at the top, and then they worry about the other icons that are maybe less important. So it's very useful to provide focus for your applications so you provide a very psychological guidance to how the user should use your application. And last but not least, the fourth one is compelling feedback. So every time we make an interaction with an object in real life, we're expecting something in response. Very simple analogy, I come across this person that I've met before, and I give them a smile or I wave my hand at them, and they don't give me a response. It happens, they don't give me a response, and it's a very, very sour feeling. And this is the type of feedback that, as a user, expects in real life and on devices as well. And also, just lost me there. The time's up. In addition to the feedback, it's also about the time, the response time that the feedback comes into. So if I say hi to a person and 10 seconds or 20 seconds later, they reply back to me with a wave or with a smile, it's already too late because I've already lost the focus. I've already focused somewhere else. So giving compelling feedback is one that you need to give one, and you need to give one in a very timely manner. So a very quick example here on how we implement that in the BlackBerry 10 operating system is through the keyboard. So on our keyboard, we have the predictive word predictions, and they actually come right on top of the key, so it's very easy to reach. And if you wanted to use that word, if you want to insert that word in the text field, all you need to do is just swipe from the key that you want and swipe upwards to fly the word into the text field. And as we fly the word into the text field, you'll see a very subtle animation. It might be hard to see in the screenshot, but you'll see a subtle animation of the word going up into the screen. So this is the moment of charm, where it's these little surprises that we give to the user to make them. I mean, it doesn't have much of an added benefit to the actual functionality, but it enhances the user experience a lot. So last but not least, just wanted to share that we also have a developer conference, an annual developer conference that we're having here in Asia, in Hong Kong this year. And it's coming at the end of September 26th and 27th. And for the folks here who are interested, feel free to come and talk to me. I'll be able to offer free passes to the event, just for the attendees here at the Cyberport series. And I don't think we have time for the product video, but if you're interested, check out our YouTube channel or just Google BlackBerry 10. And oh, so we're actually okay with the video. Okay, so maybe we'll have a look at watch a quick video, and then I think we'll step into the panel.